Hi everyone. I want to show you a different kind of Halloween card today, and I have done a lot of prep work, if I can get there, a lot of prep work, but the main thing is to show you how to put this Kinetic type 3D kind of card together, and when you fold it to post it, it will be flat. So I'll show you that in a minute as well. So just so you know some of the cardstock and ink I've used some Stampin' Up! Cardstock. I've got basic black, I've got some Cajun Craze cardstock. I have used the pack from, I think it's called Textured something. You just find it. Wood Texture DSP. It's a 6x6 paper pad, and it's just literally all wood textures. So I use some of that here. I then have used a Tim Holtz big die called Apothecary bottles, and die cut. I just found some scrap card that was these two colours, and I just die cut as many pieces as I could get out of them. So some have lids, some don't. Etc. I then used, and I'll give you the measurements as well, this stamp set, or this stamp is a Hobbycraft stamp, and it's just a little spider from one of their sort of their own range, so I think it costs £1, maybe 50p, something like that. And then this stamp too is a Hobbycraft one, which again probably cost I think £1, so it's in their own range. This stamp here, and this is easier to show you on this piece, this is the actual stamp that stamps from the let's just get it, I've got it all here to one side. Oh, here are those two Hobbycraft ones, they're just little stamps. I have used the Tim Holtz Spooky Stuff set, and it's this label here that creates that. And again, this was actually a scrap piece of watercolour paper that I had lying around, so I just used it to stamp it in some VersaFine ink. So all the black ink is VersaFine ink, not the distress back, but the stamping part. And then I also used, there's a Happy Halloween in here that I absolutely love, and I actually used that to again, a piece of Cajun Craze. This was again just a piece that was left over when I cut all these little panels out, so I just thought it doesn't quite fit, and you'll see that, but I'm just going to use it as the, although it's going to be on the outside, it's kind of the bit where I would write a message to someone. And so again, it's Cajun Craze cardstock. I used the Happy Halloween, and then I also used this like blood splatter in the background, and I used Cajun Craze Stampin' Up! Ink just so that it's like a tone on tone look, and I thought that looked quite cool. So that's that piece. All of them have been inked with these three distressings, so whether it's walnut stain, vintage photo, or black soot, either I've used all three on them, depending on what's happened and how it turned out. Depends on whether I've added more black soot, whether I've added more walnut stain, because these are the two darker of the colours. This gives it a more vintage look, but it's lighter, so depends what you want to do. And then like I say, this was just the other stamps. So if I just get these out the way, I will now hopefully be able to tell you the sizing. Let's see if I can do this in some sort of order. Right, so these guys I'm just going to get out of the way for now, because you don't need these. Oh, let me just give you this tip while I'm here. So I didn't die cut these, I just stamped them and cut them out myself 3 times. One of them I just used the whole piece and wrapped it around this bottle. Then one of them, there's a little tag that comes with the Tim Holtz the Tim Holtz big die, in the Apothecary one, and so there's like a little labels that cut out as well that you can then stick to the bottles. So one of them I used, and I just stamped this section of the stamp onto it. So that's that. That one's obviously got the thingy. Then this one, you'll see this part of the stamp. There's my dog in the background in case you're hearing that. I forget what you guys can hear. I just cut down, there's a line here on the stamp itself, on the image, sorry. So I just cut this section at the bottom and wrap that around the smaller bottle, and then the piece that's at the top I'm going to use just as an extra element on the card. So that's that. Right, so there are two sections. Oh, before I carry on, can you see this like cross stitch across here? That is from the, oh, and let me show you the die cuts of this. That's from the Lawn Fawn Stitched Borders dies, and I just used the cross stitch one. It just gives detail, it doesn't actually cut anything out. And then just so you know, these are a die cut sample of the Apothecary bottles with their lids and the little label. So it's just so you know, that's more reference for me when I store it, because obviously they're big dies, so they're quite chunky. So right, so there's two parts to this. Right. So if I give you the measurements first, and I'll bring my ruler just so that I can do it at the same time. So this smaller piece, this piece here, is going to be the bit that creates the three-dimensional part of the card. So this piece measures, it measures 8 inches by 3.5, and what you're going to do is you're going to score it at 4 inches and at 6.25. Right, and when you fold it, you're going to fold the 4-inch line back, and then the 6.25 inch back on itself. So you'll end up with this Z thing. Right. So I created some panels to go on here. So I'm gonna put these on as we go, just so that I can, you know, actually put the card together for you. So this is 3 3/4 by 3.25. I just used the sizing here and went down 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to start putting these together, and it will make sense when we actually start putting this together. So just going to get that panel on there, and these are just like extra pieces, you know, extra layers to your card. You don't have to do this. So the layer then for the top of that would be, it's 1/4 inch shorter. So that's all I've done with each piece. I've measured 1/4 inch shorter than that space there to get the Cajun block, and then 1/4 inch smaller to get the wood grain to fit on there. So this one is 3.25 by 3, and I'm just going to stick this down. And originally I thought I would use these as this little cross stitch thing as kind of like a guide to almost like a table, but so you could have it so it looked like there was a surface there if you had it this way round, almost like the tabletop. But honestly, there was no point, because the bottles are too big. So, you know, you mix it up as you go, make it work. So this middle panel is 2 inches by 3.25 for the Cajun piece. And just get that all stick it up. That's somewhat straight. Yeah, straight enough. So So this will be 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this will be 1 3/4 by 3 inches. Oh, nearly went off the page there. Sticker. In there. And I'm also trying to sort of line these up so that they're kind of straight-ish. You know me and straight, I don't do very well. So 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. So let's get this. Whoop. And I've inked, I can't remember if I said this, but I've inked the edges of all of them in either black soot or I think walnut stain. Was probably the one I used, and I inked everything including this. I didn't ink the black because I just thought you're really not going to see it on that, but I inked the Cajun Craze and even these, and you'll be surprised, like a little white edge where you've cut the paper, you know what difference it will make. So this one's 1 1/2 by 3 inches. I think I'd know these measurements by now, but obviously not. So yeah, so that's that. So this then creates the 3-dimensional front panel. Yeah. So I'm just going to stick that to one side for a second. Now we have the base of the card, or what will be the actual base part of the card. So again, I'm just going to go through all of these like I did on the previous one to give you the measurements. So this piece measures 11 inches by 4 1/4. It's a standard top folding card. So when you score it, you'll score it at 2 3/4 for your first line, and then 5 1/2. So this is what I was saying earlier, where once it's folded, so you're 5 1/2, you'll fold it in half like you would a normal A2 set card, and then this panel you'll fold back on itself. So again, you've got a Z shape going on. So when this folds flat, it will be like so. So if I put these pieces together, I'll show you how we're going to actually put the card together. That's why I've done a lot of the decorating bit, you know, and all the prep for it firsthand, because I wanted to show you how to put it together rather than going through the whole process of, you know, inking cardstock and stuff like that, because I'm sure you guys know how to do that. So for the first panel here, you've got 4 inches. Again, you're taking 1/4 of an inch off that section. So 4 inches by 2 1/2. So, and again, I've inked the edges of all of them. Ooh. And let's just see. Then my little spider, and the reason this is warped is because I started out putting some black diamond distress over the top here, and then really didn't like it. I just didn't think it worked. So I kind of got it off, but some of it had dried, so yeah. Oh, and I just drew the spiderweb lines in. So, right, so this is 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. Done. I didn't use that edge die on any of these either. I didn't see the point really, because the main idea with that, oh, you can't see that, with this one was that I was going to have it looking like they were sitting on like a shelf or something. Right, so I believe this is actually the same size as the last one. So 4 inches by 2 1/2. It is. So the other piece will be 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. Probably all yelling at the screen going, yes. anyone said that right. We'll just check anyway. So 3 3/4 by 2 1/4. And again, I just sort of decorated accordingly. I just put the spiders in different levels, and then when you see how this goes together, you'll realise that you don't even need the spiders on there. But I thought they still just add to the background, so it's all part of it. Right, so this will be your standard first layer. If you were making a standard size card, this is the first layer, so 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So the same as your standard card. And I love cards like this, and you would have seen in my videos this year that I've used or got hold of like ideas and patterns for templates for like more kinetic type 3D cards, but that when you post them they're flat, and I love that. I have a big thing about that at the moment. And also making them what's the word, making like scenery type cards, creating a scene. So well, that could sound funny, but so this panel's 5 inches by 3 3/4. So again, that's your standard. Would be another layer if you were doing a standard card, if you wanted another layer. So let's get this on here. Ugh. Right, good enough. So that's your Z fold for that part of the card. Now, there are different ways you can do this, but basically, or different, you can have it at different, you can have it at the top, the middle, or the bottom. The one I saw was in the middle. I think I'm actually going to put it at the bottom to kind of stabilize it a bit more, and also you'll get to see more of the spiders. But you're going to have this piece that's the Z's going to fold that way, and then you're going to have your main piece with your bigger panel here, and it's going to fold like so. Right, so you've got these two pieces like so. And what you're going to do is you're going to put them together like that. Does that make sense? So the idea with your smaller piece is that only on this half will you put sticky, so that you can then butt that, if you think of butting this bit, this score line, up against this score line when you go to adhere it, and I would suggest maybe using a a liquid adhesive, because you'll give you a little bit of wiggle room to get it lined up. You're going to have this piece stuck here, and then when you open it, it'll be easier to see. This panel here is going to then stick to the inside, so when it stands it won't open completely, but the idea is that it will stand something like that, and you'll have this 3D thing, but when you fold it, it will be flat. So, sorry about that, camera died. I've obviously been talking too much. So this will make hopefully a bit more sense when it goes together. So you've got this Z, your main panel, you've got this piece, your little one. Where this folds, that part's gonna, only that half is gonna stick to this front panel. This back panel here is going to be the piece that will fit on the back here to the base part of the card. So my suggestion is to stick this piece on first and then stick your other one on, because you can then fold it to stick it. If that made any sense. Right, and then also, like I say, you can have it at the top, the middle, or the bottom. I was going to do it at the bottom. I might still do it in the middle here. I think I'm going to do it in the middle, but before I do that, I nearly forgot a couple things. So some of my decoration, I want to put that extra sign in there, and this one over here, just so that there's, you know, I don't waste it. and yeah, don't waste it. So I thought that would be kind of neat, just shove there. And then this little guy, you see this was a scrap piece of watercolour paper. I don't really get rid of watercolour paper because I love it. So if I just kind of stick something like that. Again, it's more just decoration. So like you'll see a bit of that poison sign in there, see a bit of it sticking out there. Fab. Fab. So that's the thing. Do all your decorating on this portion before you stick this one on. You can still kind of do decorating on this bit, but your back piece you'll need to do that before because it'll get stuck to. So I know I said about liquid adhesive, but I'm actually going to not do that. And I am going to put quite a bit on there. So, do you see, it's only that half of the score line, and actually I'm going to open it like this. And then I can sort of, hopefully, that's the easiest way of doing it. You can kind of feel where the score line is, like when it butts up, like that. See? That actually was easier than I thought it was going to be. So, this will then, we now need to stick this back panel here, this flappy bit, needs to stick to the inside. So the easiest way to do that is to put your adhesive on the back of it, same way you did that first half of that other panel. And again, I'm just going to stick a ton of adhesive. And the easiest way, you can either fold it in like that, or actually if you just open it like so and then fold the back piece over, it will stick it to it. So do you see, it's not, it's got like a funny angle, so it's not supposed to open flat like that. It's supposed to stay somewhat angled, if that makes sense. So it's not an even block in there. So now, so obviously it won't flat like that, it will stand up like that. But when it goes in the mail, look, flat, love it. Right, let's get these guys on. So I had an idea of where I was putting them. So I was gonna, I think I need to finagle some of this. I might need to put a bit of glue, I can do that afterwards. And in fact, before I do that, I'm gonna stick the back panel on. So do you remember I said to you at the beginning, I had this scrap piece, this piece left over, that I'm gonna use as like the inside of my card. So this, as it turns out, this measures 4.5 by 4 inches. And normally I would have had a panel that actually measured, you know, 5.25 by 4. But like I say, it was just a piece left. But I think it looks fine. So I'm just, while this is still flat, because I'm going to put more 3D onto the bottles, I'm just going to stick this, make sure this is the right way around. I'm just going to stick this here, somewhere in the middle, and then that's where you can write your little message and say booyah, booyah. Sorry. Right, so some leftover bottle lids. I might have to squirt some stuff under there in a minute. So I'm thinking, if I had these just stuck on the outside and then have one of them there, one of them there. It's just to create this sort of fun kind of card. So let's see, if I stick that, oh, it's got sticky on it, hold on a second, I put the sticky in the wrong place. Get off. So just try and get some of this off. Right. just going to stick this little bottle lid behind, like sticking out from behind there, because it's not the lid that goes with this bottle. If you guys don't have one of these, this is a what is this? It's a like an eraser, sticky remover, adhesive remover, that's the word. Fabulous, best thing I ever bought. So I've got that there. Let's see, this one seems to be sticking pretty well, but I'll just get a bit more adhesive on there. Stick this guy here. Oh, come back. Come back! Well, I'm not even in camera. Hello. Just so that it makes this a bit more interesting. Again, I've got this sticky, get rid of it. Fab. Right. So I'm going to put some adhesive on all of these. In fact, let me just see here. Why not have this guy here? As long as it doesn't extend past the top of your thingy. And these, I think I like those two there, right. Bit of decision making on the screen. Why not, eh? So, where are you? Hold on one second. Right. Didn't think you wanted to watch me put sticky things on the back. So I've just got some 3D foam dots on the back here of each of them. And I know it's a mess at the back. No one's going to see it. So this one, especially with the bigger bottle, I just want to make sure it's not going to extend past the actual, oh, that would have been better. Extend past this bit, the edge of the card, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. I could have put another one there. I might add another one in there afterwards. So yeah. In fact, I didn't think about this, did I? Because when that goes on there, I need to move this one. Because, yep. So actually, this guy can go in there then. Look at that. Trying to be able to seat my pants. Basically, there needs to be a gap here because that's going to be, this has already got 3D on it. So you don't want more 3D, otherwise it's going to look like it's doing that. So you want it to lie flat against that. Just so it looks like it's in front of it, not sort of lying on top of it. It might sound silly, but it makes it look more realistic. And I've got to get rid of it. And then what you can do is just put a bit of adhesive here on what will be the flat edge. So let's get that about there, I think. That works. There's the front. And then they go, ooh. They might not make that noise when they open the card, but you never know. Oh, I'm a silly day. Right. So let's just see. So, how do I want him? Go. You can have them any angle you like. You can add more to it if you wanted to. The main thing for me was getting the being able to show you how to put this type of card together. Yeah. So even though there's 3D dots on there, it's still going to be that sort of flat. And then when it opens, it will stand like so. Pretty neat, huh? So yes, there's a lot of prep here. It took me a good couple, like on and off, a few days to get it all done, but I'm really quite chuffed with how it turned out. And also, if you look inside there, there's still interest on the inside, and that was what I was trying to say, is that you still want to decorate the back portion so that at least when people look at it, they can go, oh, actually there's something in the back there. So if you'd had more bottles, you could have put more bottles on the back as well. So it looked like almost like a little pantry of potions. Pantry of potions. Maybe that's what I'll call it. And then obviously the back where you can write your message is there. So there you go, guys. One very easy to put together card. So have a great day and happy Halloween. I would imagine by the time this goes up we will be in full swing. The shops have already got tons and tons of stuff. So there you go.